Hi, my name is Jessica Alstrom, and I am the CEO of Transcendence Wellness Centers. I am also the life coach and creator of Jessica Alstrom Quantum Life, which is a coaching forum on Facebook. I offer live coaching, live teachings on an accelerated spiritual path on Facebook worldwide. I also am the creator of TICA, which is Transcendence International Consciousness Academy, that is in 14 countries. And that is basically an academy of advanced spiritual development and empowerment of humanity. And today I want to speak with women. I'm very honored to have this opportunity over the next 30-40 minutes to share with you some very amazing secrets that I have learned and developed over the years as a life coach and an intuitive. And one of our most favorite things to teach here at TICA and Quantum Life is the manifestation and abundance process and freedom. Because as the divine feminine really rises to the leadership position of this world, we are embracing and taking back all forms of freedom in abundance, in our beauty, in our ability to be CEOs and Mother of the Year. We are moving into a stage of awareness where we really can have it all. And as natural empaths and natural nurturers, we have a compassionate edge that we are using to develop these new leadership policies in the world and overcome a lot of old belief systems and thoughts and regulations on how this world is controlled and operated. And so over this next 30-40 minutes, I just want to share with you my wealth of knowledge in the areas of abundance and freedom and manifestation. I'm sure by now lots of you guys have heard about books called The Secret and Manifesting Abundance and becoming financially free, becoming independently free, becoming self-aware, and falling madly in love with ourselves. As women, that is what we're working on fast and furious is the ability to move from a deep ownership of self-respect into self-love. And I always teach about self-respect first because, we've been taught at a very young age that self-love is about, servicing others and being what everyone else needs us to be, and obligation and, caretakers. And we have defined our entire abilities to love ourselves through what we were able to give to others. And so that's really being flip-flopped in the new teachings and the new energy that is, so frequently taught nowadays. And it's about loving the self and allowing the essence to grow. And then whatever the extra is the gift to the world, because we have to be able to really heal ourselves if we're really going to be able to heal anyone else. And so let's jump into it. How does this modern, empathic, nurturing, savvy, strong-willed women manifest abundance in these changing times, in a world that still feels unsafe and still feels governed by men and still feels governed by that masculine energy? Like, how do we create our abundance in this? And I'm going to give you the secrets today. I have a book coming out, probably in fall time. It's called Me, Myself, and I. And I'll discuss a little bit about that mindset during this talk. And it's really about how we ourselves are the creator of our reality, and how just with our thoughts, feelings, belief systems, and actions, we can create opportunities, circumstances, and events that would seem so far outside of our control if we were to logic it, and be able to kind of manipulate energy in a way where we are commanding this force of nature to be at the will of what we're asking for. And that's really how powerful we are at the root of our being. We are spiritual beings having a very human experience, and we need to know that we're not going to take human actions to build abundance and freedom for ourselves. We're going to find that deep spiritual place within us, and we're going to command the universe and set those intentions and will that energy towards us. The law of attraction, I'm sure you've all heard of by now, is basically a law that is held within most of the universe. And that is a law of magnetism. It's a law of reflection. What I'm putting out is what I'm getting back. Now, my book is all about the fact that we're doing that on a conscious and unconscious level. Most of us think, well, I'm having good thoughts and I'm positively willing money and I'm staying, happy most of the time, yet I keep manifesting, issues, and I lost my job and I'm in this place with my relationship. And that's when I'm going to teach you the first secret of today is that you are manifesting, yes, by your conscious asking. You are manifesting through, your focus through where you're aware of. But there's a place within you that is deep within you that you are not so aware of, that you have developed over your lifelong of observation and practice, that we call the subconscious mind, the subconscious awareness. And this subconscious place inside of you has been learning and growing side by side with you your whole life, taking score, observing, practicing, and watching others fail and win all around you your whole life. And even though your conscious awareness is saying, yes, I want this and this, there's a place inside of you that is abandoned, is lost, that feels unworthy, that feels not good enough, that feels lonely, that feels isolated, feels unsure of herself, feels, that she's not smart enough. And this place inside of us is where we hide all of our subconscious truths from ourselves. We are so good as women of always having to be strong, of always having to be that caretaker, of always having to be there for others, that when our weaknesses start to surface, we push them down and we go be of service for someone else so we don't have to feel those feelings of unworthiness. We don't have to feel that feeling of anxiety. We can just go take care of someone else to kind of like distract the energy that's behind it. But law of attraction is listening to the totality of you. Law of attraction is listening to all parts of your being. And all parts of your being is your conscious asking, your subconscious awareness, and your unconscious places within you. And that's where my book is developed. It's called Me, Myself, and I. And the I is that higher self, is that spirit, that being, that unlimited source of God that resides within all of us. And the myself is kind of the subconscious. It's the body. It's the cellular memory. It's the place where we learn about epigenetics, about how thoughts manipulate cells, and how the body is reacting and triggered by thoughts and feelings from the past, worries of the future. And that's what we call the myself. And then the me is that small version of you, and we call it my ego. We call it the little me, that you that feels like life's not fair, and that, you're watching everybody else live this life that you want to live, or, things are not working out for you, or you take 10 steps forward and 10 steps back. And that seems to be the you that is underneath all of that, the energy that we're not focusing on a daily basis. And unfortunately, that's the energy that kind of goes into the autopilot. And there's a lot of behaviors and thoughts and feelings and actions that we do throughout our day on autopilot. And we're not aware of this other version of ourselves unless it rears its ugly head, or it gets triggered by a loved one, or, it manifests something catastrophic to get our attention. That's the only real time that we're noticing those other voices, because we're trying to stay in the future. We're trying to stay in the present moment and plan the future and goals and, staying positive. And so we're not really monitoring these other voices that are inside of us. And how this voice was developed was when you were a little child. I teach about 7-year cycles a lot in Tika and in my coaching academies. Is your first 7 years is when you decided and developed your ideas of who you are, what love means, and your place in this universe. And you decided those belief systems at a very core level by the time you're 7 years old. And that's, if you notice, most times children learn to manipulate. They're learning how to lie. They're learning how to stand up for themselves or not stand up for themselves, whatever is safer for them. And, why would a children have to learn how to manipulate? Why would a child have to learn how to lie? And the reason why is because at some place they've developed that it's not safe or to be themselves, or it's not okay for them to be who they want to be. It's not okay for them to ask. It's not okay for them to be authentic. And so as women, what we're doing is part of our self-love journey is we're learning how to speak our truth. We're learning how to be authentic. We're learning how to ask for what we want. And those are all places inside of us where we've been kind of taught that it's not safe for us to do those things. And believe it or not, those three voices within us that make up one, you've heard the yogis talk about mind, body, soul. I talk about me, myself, and I. I like to keep things very simple when we're explaining the universe and how this whole big old thing called reality actually works. And so when we're asking for abundance, we have to realize is that there's three different stories that are being projected from us energetically. The story of, who I believe myself to be on the surface, and the story underneath that is a compilation of who I choose to be and what I'm wanting to be, and then this place deep inside of us that is in judgment of ourselves and doesn't feel strong enough, and that's the whole reason why we're asking for things that we want. And so law of attraction is actually listening to frequency and vibration, and all three of those versions of you are being projected outside of your energy field and are matched with circumstances, events, people, and opportunities that match a synchronistic kind of potpourri balance of the three things. And so if you were to look back over your life, you would recognize that your life kind of goes like this. There's ups and there's downs. You're manifesting what you want, and then you manifest what you don't want. You manifest something high and then something low. The guy of your dreams, he turns out to be a jerk. The money you need, and then it all has to go to bills. So you can see how law of attraction is only responding to the frequency and vibration that you are emitting. And our awareness challenge is to be aware of all three of those commands that are being spoken through our being, and learn how to heal the places of us inside using our manifestation steps, using our abundance tools, using our methods to really get into the subconscious and make the subconscious conscious, so that we can stop telling those stories of unworthiness and not good enough and lack and, missing out to the universe. Because unfortunately, the subconscious part of you is a huge part of your vibration. And law of attraction is responding to those secret places within you that you have kind of disassociated from, denied, rejected, suppressed, because it doesn't feel good to think about those things from the past. It doesn't feel good to remember not being good enough. It doesn't feel good to be the weirdo. It doesn't feel good. So what we do is, on a conscious level, we choose to suppress those feelings, but those feelings that are deep inside of us. And, I teach a lot about chakras. I teach a lot about energy in my courses and classes, but let's keep it really simple today. Those places that energy and those stories are stored inside the body are deep within the cellular memory of who we are. And cellular memory causes us to emotionally react and feel the way that we feel and respond the way that we respond. And so law of attraction is listening to every single thing we think, every single thing we feel, and every single thing we do. And I teach a lot about observing our own behavior throughout the day and in a non-judgmental, loving way, so that we may see where our subconscious mind really resonates at. And an example of that would be, when you wake up in the morning and you have your goal set for the day and you're in a really great place and you say, okay, today I'm going to exercise, I'm going to make these phone calls, I'm going to answer these emails, I'm going to work on my website, I'm going to do all these things. And by noon, you're eating fast food and you haven't gotten anything done. You feel stuck. You feel frozen. You feel a lack of motivation. You feel, you get a conflict from someone that was supposed to help you with your website. You've manifested things that have taken you off of your higher self journey, your goddess journey, your empowerment journey, and now you're having to focus on issues throughout the day. And if you were to say, how am I creating that? I woke up, I was in this great mood. Well, I say, just sit back and observe your behavior, because even feeling frozen and unmotivated is coming from a belief inside of us that I'm not sure I'm good enough to do this. I don't know how to do this. I don't feel like I have enough help to do this. And that little story that we're kind of keeping low is loud to the universe. So what we actually try to suppress is very loud to the universe. It's almost like if someone were to walk in a room and they were in a really bad mood, and you immediately say, like, what's wrong? And they're like, nothing. you would know that that was not true by the way that their energy was being projected at you. You would know right away that that was not a true statement. And so when I'm doing intuitive coaching, which I do all over the world, is I'm always listening to the three voices that are basically permeating out of you. You know, you sit down in the chair and you say, this is what I'm going through on a surface level. And while you're telling me what's going on at a surface level, your subconscious mind has a whole other story it's giving me, and your unconscious mind is having a whole other story that it's giving me about why it's not going to work out. And so you're saying, oh, I really like this man. I want to date him. He's perfect for me. And your subconscious is like, yes, he reminds us just like our dad, and he was emotionally unavailable. And your unconscious is saying, you know, I secretly believe that love is pain. Love hurts. And so I look on the surface and I say, okay, she's attracting someone in her life that equals love hurts. And she's very excited about it, because here's the thing about you is we are excited and driven by the very things that we're wanting to heal within ourselves. We are attracted to our wounds. We're attracted to those wound mate relationships because they show us the deeper parts of ourselves. And so when we're learning how to manifest abundance, we want to take the totality of our being into that mathematical equation when we're working with vibration and frequency, so that we may use all parts of our healed selves to manifest the true abundance, money, prosperity, freedom, happiness, joy, peace that we're craving so deep within our heart. So I have developed a very foolproof method of doing this. It is all broken down in the book. It's all broken down in our classes and our courses. It's all broken down in our Facebook coaching, because I believe at the basis of who you are, if you know how to manifest your reality, the rest of figuring out who you are and falling madly in your love with yourself, it all comes together. Because to me, confidence is the best accessory that you're ever going to wear. And if you have confidence about the fact that you know how to create your own reality, then nothing will ever stand in your way as far as circumstance. Something might happen, but you know, I created that. I'm going to create my way out of that. I have the power, the tools, the knowing. I have the formula. And there's nothing that's going to stop me from living the life that I have set out to live. And so what we want to do is we want to start our self-love journey really with self-confidence, of knowing our potential, and not just knowing the potential and the gut urge inside of ourselves to be of service and help the world and help ourselves and help our families, but actually know how to take steps and actions in order to reach those goals. Because it is one thing to understand this stuff. It is one thing to have read all of the law of attraction books. And it is another thing to live moment by moment in the formula of the doing. Because it is in the doing that makes or breaks your manifestations. It is in the action steps. It is in the behavior. And if you were just to observe your character for 24 hours without judging yourself and without trying to stop yourself and just watch your behavior, you would understand exactly why you were manifesting the things that you were manifesting, because you could see that your hopes and your dreams and your desire were in one place, and your actions and your words even might be in a completely different place. And so you're giving the universe mixed signals, and therefore if you're giving the universe mixed signals, you're going to manifest a bunch of mixed messages and opportunities, mixed people, mixed circumstances, mixed characters, mixed props, mixed money issues, mixed all kinds of stuff. So we want to fine tune. And that's where I really love to teach, is the finding root issues and fine tuning your alignment. Really turning you guys into master frequency operators, understanding that you're here to manipulate energy, and that just with your love and respect and confidence of who you are as a woman can take you into places that would only be considered miracle and magic. So let's jump into it. You know, I'm going to give you guys this formula because I want everyone in the world to be able to manifest their reality at any given moment, no matter what's happening in front of you, no matter what you manifested this morning. I want you to be able to begin where you are and take these action steps and start a brand new life where you are the director and the producer and the leading lady. It's time for you to be the leading lady of your life, not the extra, not the co-star, not the wannabe, not, you know, the leading lady, the heroine of your own story. So what are those steps? Now, these steps, I will tell you, are just pure magic. And the way that they are in alignment of each other, you really need to make sure that you're working through these steps in the right order. And your intuition, okay? So what is your intuition? Your intuition is your soul speaking through you, okay? And it's inside of yourself. This intuition is not going to come from outside of you. It is going to come from inside of you. And intuition is very soft and it's very fast, which means that I teach a lot of intuitive training. I teach a lot of psychic training, and how to be able to not only speak to your higher self and work with your higher self, but all of the guidance and unseen wonderful help that we have all around us in the non-physical world, and bring forth us the magic that is within the knowing. Because your higher self, this spirit within you, knows exactly who you are and what you're wanting and how to get it. It is the logic mind, the judgmental mind, the one that's afraid of what people will think about you, the one that's been through the hard times, the one that's been judged for being different, the one that's been judged for using her intuition, is going to be that logical voice that's going to stop you in your tracks. And so the trick is, first and foremost, is when you are feeling that gut intuition come up, you really need to let it be with you and respond to it in that first 3 seconds, because first 3 seconds is intuition, and after that what we do is we take it into the logic place where now we decide whether it's right or wrong, if it's logical, if it's going to like pan out, because I will tell you that a lot of times intuition is very illogical. It doesn't make sense. It'll tell you to go over here when you think you need to be going over here, because this is the shortcut. But see, this is the logical route that everybody else is going, and so we're going, what, I need to go this way, and your intuition is saying go this way. So it's really important to remember this when you're manifesting. But a lot of times during your manifestation process, it will feel very illogical. It will feel like you took a few steps back when you actually went around a shortcut or a detour, but your ego or your logical mind won't be able to make sense of that. So you'll try to put yourself back on the road traveled because that makes sense. You know, it's almost like I say, you got to lose your mind if you want the world to make sense. And so you've got to start listening to that intuition, that heart, that gut. And that's going to be the first 3 seconds. And if you catch it early, you'll be able to say, oh, this is what my intuition said. And then watch how fast it turns into logic. Watch how fast it turns into judgment. Look how fast it turns into right or wrong. And then when it moves into that space, you get confused. And that's when you need to call someone outside of you and say, I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure what to eat. I'm not sure where to work. I'm not sure if I should take this job. I'm not sure if I should date this guy. I'm not sure if I should leave. And really what happened was your truth came up. And because you've been taught to deny yourself your whole life, you shut it down, and then the logic came. And then if you notice, that's when you start feeling bad. You start feeling bad because you don't feel like you can trust yourself. You don't feel like you have the answers. And then it triggers all of those issues that are deep within the unconscious and subconscious about us not being good enough. You know, humans don't even really, especially in our country of the United States, we don't even know what to feed our bodies because we are so trained to not listen that when we start to feel an urge or a sensation or a craving, we start to worry about what our bodies actually need because there's so much information everywhere about what we should eat and what we shouldn't eat that we've trained ourselves to not listen, to not be mindful, that we listen to this doctor and this diet and this clinical research and this blood type and this, and then we try to make everybody else's intuition, because again, they wrote that diet out of their own intuition and they followed it and it worked for them, but it may not work for you. So that's really important when you're starting your manifestation journey, is to practice those first 3 seconds of awareness and practice trusting those first 3 minutes of illogical patterning that are going to be birthed to you, that you're going to say, that doesn't make any sense. But if you follow them, then what happens is it takes you the fast track into your manifestation, into your divine purpose, into your life goals, into your soulmate, into into your, pot of gold, instead of going the road traveled because, you know what, I might get judged if I went this way, if I just trusted myself and did what everybody else was against. I teach a lot about you're here to be a sheep herder, not a sheep. And a sheep herder must first study the sheep. And you guys are really good at understanding people. We're empaths. We understand other people probably better than we do ourselves sometimes. And so when we're working on manifestation, we first have to understand that those first 3 seconds are a place where we're going to have to learn how to trust ourselves. And when we trust what is showing up in front of us, we can use it as a treasure map and just put one foot in front of the other and follow it, no matter what's happening. No matter what's happening, I can't tell you how many times losing your job is actually a shortcut. Getting broken up with or leaving a relationship is a shortcut. Getting sick is a shortcut at times. And you're not going to understand any of this from like a visceral place outside of you because of the way it seems and feels. But from an inside place, I teach this all the time, that everything that's happening outside of you negatively is always a shortcut because you're asking. And whenever you ask, it's always given. So the formula is this. There are 7 steps to manifestation. And if you think back over all the times that you have manifested swiftly and quickly, you've probably done these steps without even being aware that you're doing them, because it isn't something that you have to sit down and calculate and spreadsheet. It is just a rhythm and flow of the universe that once you learn the steps, you realize that the only thing that's ever stood in your way of manifesting your dreams has been doubt and self-judgment. So if you follow the steps, you can eliminate the doubt, because it's just a mathematical problem that these 7 steps equal the life you want. And if you keep your logic and your ego and your little parts of yourself out of the equation, then what will happen is you will be in the flow with the universe instead of in resistance of the universe. So the first step of manifestation is desire. What is desire? Desire is like the engine of your car. You're not going anywhere without your engine. Desire is what gets you all fired up hormonally. It gets your juices flowing. It gets you revved up. It gets you sick and tired of where you are. It gets you excited for what's coming. It gets you feeling alive. Desire creates that sensation of being alive. Okay, it doesn't necessarily mean positive or negative, because a lot of times we can have a desire to leave, and that may not feel good because there's so much heavy energy there. But desire is going to be your motor in this manifestation process. And without desire, okay, you're going to stay where you are on that hamster wheel, in that rat cage. And a lot of us have given away desire because we've moved into a belief system that we don't deserve what we want, or we can't have what we want, or wait, I have to wait till my kids are grown. And I'm here to tell you that in these 7 steps, whatever you think you've manifested is solid is not solid. Everything is malleable. And another thing that I tell women too when we're learning to manifest is no one has to lose for you to win. You don't have to let go of your life in order to manifest your dream. Because you're manifesting with the entire universe, which means that it's this and that, which means I can have what I want and it will actually create happiness and generate wonderful joy for everyone around me. Doesn't mean I'm going to show you how to get out of your life and leave your family and kids behind. It means that when you're in a desire point, you're not just desiring for you to expand and do well. You're desiring for everyone around you to do well based in your choices and decisions and behavior. So that's the first step, is to really, really find out, what is it that I desire? What is it that would make me feel whole? What is it that would make me feel expanded? What is it that would feed my soul? What is it that if I got to do every single day, that would just allow me to know more of myself? What is the bigger part of who you are, and what are they desiring within you? Okay. The second step is to now formulate a vision. So we're going to use parts of your brain and your body that you are unaware of in this step. We're going to, you see, desire is all about firing up hormones. It's all about getting your whole body like on board with it, fired up. And when we move into vision, what we're doing is we're going to be working in parts of the brain. And the part of the brain that we're going to be working when we go into vision is called the frontal cortex. And the frontal cortex is a place right here. And it houses your imagination. It's like your little projector of future productions of movies, of ideas that have not formulated yet, of manifestations that have not yet been birthed. And when we go into the vision, we call it, we're going into the stage of the workshop. And we're going inside of ourselves to formulate a vision that feels kind of like a movie or a story that houses the desire that we've just created. So what does that vision look like? So if this was going to be the quintessential carrot in front of you, what would your vision of your desire look like? Would it be to have your own business and employ all your children and be able to travel with your husband? Or would it be to leave that relationship and have your spouse completely happy about the shifts and changes because you both realize that it's serving you best to do that? This is where you have to get kind of delusional. This is where you have to go into fantasy. This is where the fairy tales are. This is where you're moving into a place of your brain that is focused on what could be and what is the magic parts of reality. Now the brain, the human brain, and I would consider myself an expert in the brain and the body, is the brain does not know the difference between imagination and real. That's why I could ask you to close your eyes and think about a creepy crawly spider, and within 3 to 5 seconds, your body would start itching and responding to that sensation through a thought. And what that means is my brain is telling my body's reminding my body or thinking about something that's creepy, and then I've got to release hormones in my body to respond to that feeling, and now I'm itchy. So my body didn't know the difference if I actually saw something creepy or felt something creepy and witnessed something creepy, because it's all imagination. So we're going to use every part of the brain to actually manifest our desires, okay? So this is where the vision comes in. This is where the place inside of you that you put the storyboard together. And what that would look like and what that would feel like and how it would serve others. And this is the place where you start to feel kind of like the tingly sensations of your intuition, and you start to feel your energy field expand. You start to feel your heart open. You start to feel magic. Okay, and that's what that feeling is. It's like a song that comes on the radio, and all of a sudden you're just in that space of everything just gets better. And now we're building some energetic momentum here. And this whole time you're doing this process, the universe is listening with open ears, because right now we're setting forth desire, and we're not having a desire and then going, oh, I'm never going to be able to have that. We're letting that desire move all the way into vision. And once it goes into vision, it starts to solidify, okay? It starts to solidify the picture of what that desire feels like. And when we solidify what that desire feels like, then we can start to put kind of an intention around it. And what is an intention? An intention is you standing on top of the universe saying, this is who I am. This is who I am. This is the character I choose to play. This is how I want to live my life. And it's a very commanding place, intention. Command, it's not a prayer where you're saying, okay, now please can you bring me my vision? Do you see my doubt? Do you see my victim energy there? Do you see my worry in that? Oh gosh, I want it so much, I can't have it. This is where you're moving in your momentum, and you're saying, this is where your confidence comes in. You say, you know what, this is what I deserve. I am blah, 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 blah. I am financially free. I am independent. I am, this, I am that. And this is where your I ams are going to come in. And if you've followed any of my work, I teach all about this. I have over 200 videos on YouTube that teach every single step of this outlined in longer details if you guys ever want to go check me out. And this is the place for intention, where it is you standing and taking ownership of your vision. It is very important that you take ownership of that vision right there. And what happens is you kind of start to feel different in your body. You hold your body differently. You naturally want to change behaviors after this, because someone who has just declared to the universe who she is now would organically behave differently. This is important. And if I start to organically behave as someone who's just set in a new intention for her life, then I'm going to start showing up differently. And as I start showing up differently, I'm going to spend time in the next place of workshop that I have within my non-physical place. And I am actually going to go into what's called my imagination. Now, to me, imagination and vision are slightly different, because vision, I'm remembering things, a storyline that I could imagine looking like a carrot. So it's like through my vision, I'm going, okay, so my dream life looks like this, okay? And then my next step is to set the intention. So I've set the intention as this is who I am. So if I move into my imagination now, And this is always in every single law of attraction book, but they don't explain this step properly. Imagination in my formula is that you spend 3 to 5 minutes per day now, or throughout the hour of your day, looking back at what it felt like to manifest the very thing that you visualized. This is what I use imagination for in my 7-step process. So if my desire was to open a wellness center that helped women and energy and all kinds of balancing, or travel the world, and then once I went into my vision, I am someone who travels the world, gets paid to be herself, gets to help several million people, has wellness centers all over the world. And then when I move into my intention I am the owner of these wellness centers. I'm going to start behaving as if, pretending, of course, but I'm going to start moving my body, because my body doesn't know, my brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and real. So if I start acting like a CEO, or acting like a mother, or acting like someone who has a soulmate, then the universe has to abide by what I'm acting out. Okay. And so when I move into my imagination, I'm going to spend 3 to 5 minutes a day going, oh gosh, remember when we manifested that third wellness center? I like to say, go back to, go in the future 2 to 3 years and look back and spend 3 to 5 minutes honing up your imagination, really looking back at what it felt like to manifest that and who you are now because you've manifested. See, the thing about the law of attraction that's a paradox is you can't manifest what you want. You're only manifesting what you are. So you have to be the vibration of what you are in order to manifest what you want. So it's like, you have to go in the future and look back and go, oh wow, wasn't it awesome when we did that? Okay. So hopefully this is making sense. And because you're acting out this new character of someone who had a vision, intended the vision, is now remembering the vision as past tense of that, and living her daily life in pretending and moving forward to someone who would accomplish this, the next step is something that happens completely organically, and it happens completely inside of you from pure intuition. And the next step of manifestation is called inspired action. And this is where all of a sudden you wake up one day and you go, oh my gosh, I got to call so-and-so. Or you're walking down the street and you're going this way to work, but you go, you know what? I need to go over here for some reason. And you go over here and you meet the exact person who wants to build this billion-dollar business with you. Or you make this call and it's divine timing. This is where the timing of the universe starts to step in. And you, just like a character stepping on stage, take minimal action to start showing up in your intention, in your manifestation. And it's just like boom, 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 boom. Things start to line up and happen for you. Okay. And this step feels very effortless. That's why I say that manifesting your dreams is literally once you've done the energy work and you've done the dedicated intention work, it's like stepping into the new role. There's no working 70 hours a week. There's no learning marketing. There's no, all of this stuff is like it just shows up for you. The person who's going to do your marketing shows up for you. The money shows up for you. And you're just stepping into it to collect it, to start to embody that character. And as you do this momentum is really flowing quickly. And I will tell you that this is where most people in law of attraction begin to fail, because they think that these synchronicities are just going to keep happening and keep happening and keep happening. But I call this is where balancing needs to take place, because you've kind of pretended your way into this scenario and now you're beginning to manifest it. And as you begin to manifest it, what happens is all your old fears will start to surface, and you start to need to balance something called cause and effect. And so this is the place where you really want to take your focus off of your manifestation. And I call this step number 6, dive into service. This is when you totally distract yourself from you and what you want, because this is when the universe is going to start really testing your state of being. Are you really who you say you are? Are you really being all in your heart space about this? Are you really loving this? And this is where all your old fears will start to creep in. Oh my gosh, it's starting to happen for me. Because there's a very big difference between wanting something and having something. It's 2 totally different frequencies. So if I want something, I'm always working towards it. But if I have something, a lot of times I don't know what to do with it. And then my own doubts and my own worries and my subconscious stuff starts to trickle to the surface, and I start to feel unsettled. And this is where we distract ourselves and we go help someone else. So if you're working to manifest money, this is actually where you would go and help someone else make money. We'll help someone move. Go donate a bunch of stuff that you don't need. This is where we dive into service, because we're balancing cause and effect right here. We're balancing old karmic issues around money. We're balancing old energy and doubt within ourselves. We're learning to trust ourselves. And if you notice that every step I've been keeping the goddess energy very, very confident. So when you're helping someone else, you're not thinking about where your weaknesses are. When you're donating stuff, you feel abundant. When you're helping someone move, you're in action and you're in service. When you go do a free session for someone, you're feeling abundant. So we're keeping that real tight abundance line in order, and we're staying confident, because confidence is the secret of all of this, is knowing that you deserve it, is how we manifest our true abundance in this new energy. And as we're moving into service and we're helping all of these people, what happens is the rest of our manifestation starts to anchor, solidify, and become real, because thoughts create matter. Okay? When you think about something, the little particles of energy start to collect, they start to form, and they start to percolate, and they start to build this reality around you. But it's just like watching paint dry. If you watch it, it doesn't happen. So you do the steps, you do the steps, you do the steps, and then all of a sudden you take your eye off of it, you dive into surface, you start moving into that higher confidence place. And in this last step, this is the secret, the last step to everything is to totally surrender your manifestation to the universe. This isn't you giving up. But my surrender is, I have it, I've created it, I intend it, I deserve it, I've balanced my energy, I'm confident, and now I'm actually in my 7th step, completely let go of wanting that, and I'm on to actually step 1 again of desiring something else. So what could I create next? And what this does is it pulls my focus off of, has it manifested yet? Has it manifested yet? Has it solidified? Has the deal come through? Are we signing papers? Did the money come? And I'm already focused on desiring something new, which means that I truly believe I already have that. So I can take my focus off that and I can go build something new over here. And as I start building something over here, law of attraction creates this here, puts it in my lap, and the irony of all of this is when you manifest the very thing that you set out in step 1, by the time you receive it, you're like, awesome, because you're already so far moving into the forward direction. Have you guys ever thought about, the last time you really wanted something and then you got it? It was like the wanting of it was so much bigger than the having. It's like the having is kind of like, okay, well, who are we now? Who are we now? And your life, if you just get totally confident about it, will be one transition after another, that you're here to create your reality. Therefore, you're never going to be satisfied with what you've created. You're always going to want more and bigger and better for yourself, because really we're here to self-realize. We're not here to obtain, but we're here to prove that we can do it. And so when we prove to ourselves that we can do something and have these experiences and build the energy around it and create it, we're always going to want to challenge ourselves to the very next step. And so that is my formula for manifestation. And it is, if you follow the pattern, you realize is that you're staying in that bigger place of yourself, that intuition. You're not going small. You're not playing small. You're playing confident. You're playing big. You're using your biochemistry to help you create energy around you that creates the magnetic effect. Your cells are magnetic. So whatever your cells are experiencing and feeling, they are drawing to them equal components of their feelings and sensations. So if I feel small and weak, I'm going to attract situations outside of me that are going to make me feel and remind me that I'm small and weak. So if I can use my own imagination, which is I imagine my nation, I am imagining my consciousness is looking at me. If I can imagine myself bigger and greater than I have accomplished yet, and then I can move my body into that belief system that we are that person, just like I can convince you that there's something creepy, right? I could take you into a story about spiders and have you itching in 3 minutes. Or I could take you into the story of your own greatness, and I could have you producing those hormones inside of you that believe that's who you are. And I just need you to act as if and follow this process step by step and move into that place of greater knowing and manifesting. And I will promise you that within a couple of weeks, your life will feel like fairy tale magic, and it will feel like a treasure hunt where at the end you get to find yourself, and you get to make a living doing exactly what you choose to do versus what you think you have to do. And it's been a magical process for me. If anybody doesn't know my story, I started off a single mom with $90 and 3 kids who came from California to start over in Kansas City. I had one family member who lived here as a support system, but I had these steps, and everybody on the outside of me was calling me irresponsible, and how could you do that? How could you take your children away from their families and start over at $90? But it was a very toxic, very codependent situation that we were in, and it was very unhealthy. And I knew that these steps of manifestation. So I brought my 3 girls here with $90, and I started my desire, and I fooled myself every time I looked at my bank account and said, this is not who I am. I'm abundant. I can create this. And within 6 weeks, I had a car. I had bumped into someone at Starbucks who wanted to invest in a company with me. That was very synchronistic, even though I was going to spend money that I didn't have at a coffee shop. My intuition said, you need to go. And this is how I followed it. And I have documentaries on how I've done this, and got books coming out, and I coach all over the world. And I love working with women because, we get this stuff so fast, and we're so ready. And we've waited so long for our opportunities to be both strong and nurturing and be able to lead this world in a place of divine grace. And it's all about knowing who you are inside. And you've been able to take care of everybody else. And now it's time for you to be able to take care of your own heart, your own needs, and your own desires, and make them important again, and make that zest for living important again, and follow that joy that is inside of you, because it will take you all the way to your greatest dreams of all of the fantasies that you thought that were just in the storybooks. You will be able to manifest. I have created my soulmate. I've created a business for myself. I basically wake up every day and I get paid to be me. I have 4 beautiful children, and they're all doing amazingly well. We've all thrived since we've been here, and never once has it been from feeling weak or small or saying, who's going to help me? It's going inside and saying, who am I really? And using these steps to create the people to show up that say, I would love to be a part of it, instead of let me help you. Because we don't want to feel like victims. We want to feel like goddesses. We want to feel like that powerhouse of knowing that we are deep inside of us. And we want to be able to use the wholeness of who we are to create, not just for ourselves, but for our families and for the world. And we want to be able to give back that love that we have trapped inside of us. And we want to be able to be free to experience it and not walk around protecting our heart because it's gotten broken our whole lives. We want to set ourselves free. We want to be here to be authentic. And I hope that today I inspired you, or I gave you a missing, tool for your toolbox. And if you, like anything that we said today, please join us on Facebook on our Quantum Life community page, which is a totally free Facebook page where I teach a lot, and I do a lot of channeling on that page. And then I have a more accelerated Facebook group called Jessica Alstrom Quantum Life Tika, which is our subscription group. It's $22 a month for you to have basically your entire spiritual journey laid out, all of the paths, all of the roadblocks, all of the issues that we have on our journeys are all dealt with live in the moment on that page. And anybody who's looking to certify through, becoming a professional life coach, I certify people all over the world to do exactly what I'm doing. Bring out your spiritual gifts, bring out your intuition, and allow you to, from a leadership position, teach and coach and really just be who you came to be. And please look for our book that's coming out in the fall. It's called Me, Myself, and I by Jessica Alstrom. And I hope that there was something that resonated with you today. And I would love to meet all of you individually for a private session at some point, and see your manifestation stories unfold right in front of your eyes. Thank you for allowing me to blab for the last 40 minutes, and I will see you all soon.